The member for McKellar.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Treasurer. Can the Treasurer please update the House on what the Morrison government is doing to support Australians during lockdown and how we are ensuring that our economy bounces back stronger as the lockdown restrictions are eased?
The Treasurer has the call.
Well, thank you, Mr Speaker. I thank the member for McKellar for his question, acknowledge his time as a local councillor in small business and as chair of the Tax and Revenue Committee in the House. And the good news for the people of the Northern Beaches is now, with restrictions having been eased in New South Wales, they can go to the gym or for a swim, Mr Speaker. They can go for a meal or a movie, or indeed they can have people now over to their own homes. This is the dividend for the work of the people of New South Wales in getting the jab in record numbers, now at 80% double-dose vaccinations. And we will see in Victoria, the great state of Victoria will see that target reached before too long and restrictions eased in Victoria too. Now, every step of the way through this Delta variant lockdown, we have been, as a government, supporting households and businesses in New South Wales, Victoria and the ACT. Some $17 billion is already out the door, $11.5 billion in COVID disaster payments and $5.5 billion in our share of the 50-50 business support payments. And this has helped support households and businesses in their hour of need and ensure that our economy is primed for a strong recovery. And we're already seeing some positive data out of the easing of restrictions in New South Wales. The National Australia Bank credit data for the first week after lockdown has seen $825 million spent. That's a 54% increase on the spending in New South Wales the week prior, and a nearly 10% increase on the spending in New South Wales at the same time last year when they weren't in actual lockdown. We've seen a more than 500% increase in New South Wales in spending at beauty shops, more than a 300% increase in spending at clothing shops, and more than a 50% increase spending across New South Wales in pubs, clubs and restaurants. And we know that as the restrictions are eased, our economy will continue to strengthen and the jobs will come back. There is now $330 billion on household and business balance sheets that was not there this time last year. We know that job ads are 21% higher today than they were at the start of the pandemic. We know that business and consumer confidence were both up last week, and we know that last week Australia had its outlook upgraded by Fitch that reaffirmed Australia's AAA credit rating, Mr Speaker. So Australians can look forward to a bright summer. Australians know that their economy is resilient in the face of this big economic shock.